Morning, everyone. My name's Keith here at Good Heart Church. And I always say Good Heart Church, but it's really the name of it's Good Heart Metaphysical Church. And I only bring that up because um, we are metaphysical here. We're not affiliated with any of the um, organized religions or churches. Um, anyway, welcome. Welcome to another Sunday here in Colorado, or wherever you're at. We like to see everybody coming, and we like to see everybody watching this. Um, Today, we're going to be talking about staying in the moment. You probably saw that when you were waiting for me to come on. Um, we'll get to that in a few moments. I don't have really any announcements to make today. We want to welcome all the light spirits and bring in any spirit forms, or whether they're in the physical or in the spirit world, that want to be with us today. Um, I'm in a lot of pain today, so just bear with me. Um, and I'm not saying that as an excuse or anything. I'm just saying I am. So I'm working pretty slowly today, and it's not. I just don't feel real perky because of the pain. It's not my hand; it's my hip, and we'll go into that some other time. But because my personal stuff is not the issue. We're here to stay in the moment. So my moment right now is pain. But yeah, so we've welcomed everybody. We want to thank my wife Mary for helping us today, but she's still doing two jobs. She's still monitoring the computer, and she's doing the camera. Of course, you guys aren't keeping her very busy on the computer answering any comments or anything. So bring them on, bring them on. We want to welcome any new subscribers too. We've had a few new subscribers. We want to welcome them into the church, and we're going to be hopefully each one of you will help to bring someone else in here so we can eventually grow this a little bit further, get more of the message out to the different people. So have share this and have see if other people want to subscribe, and please give us a thumbs up and leave some comments so we know where your thinking is, because we can learn from your thinking as well as you learning from our thinking. And we can discuss things if we have comments to discuss. So please leave comments. And it doesn't have to be about today's subject. It can just be about anything spiritual, anything in the metaphysical field, that you have questions about or comments about. So, um,
Last week.
oh, I want to apologize. Mary just reminded me. I want to apologize for not having a gathering last week. We were all set to go, and it was so windy outside. We use a portable Starlink in order to get this out to you folks, and we have to transfer that Starlink from where we live up to where we do this service out of this church, and it's about 20-25 miles up here. Point is that once we don't have a way of securing the Starlink very well up here, and last week we put the Starlink up, and all of a sudden we had no signal. We went outside, and it had been so windy that it toppled it right over. So we are getting some sandbags together for when that happens again, and so that we can continue this. But that sort of brought us out of it, just took us right off of the end, off of the offline last week. So we apologize for not having a gathering last week. We try to get this out every week, and we certainly do apologize for that. So, um, so let's now pray to your deity. I can't say it. Pray to your deity, and then we'll go into a small relaxation session before we start on the actual talk that we're going to have today. And finish up our prayers. Let's sit back and continue, possibly with your eyes closed as you were praying, and just relax. Starting at the top of your head, relax your scalp and temples. Relax your forehead. Take that crease out from in between your eyes. Relax your eyebrows as you do this. As you're doing this, keep the posture as straight as possible to let the energies flow through all your chakras. And each breath out, relax one more part of your body. Go ahead and relax your cheeks, your cheekbones, your jawbone, dropping your tongue down to the bottom of your mouth. Relax your ears and your neck. And as you relax those, drop your shoulders away from your ears. Relax your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms, your wrists, hands, and fingers. Relax your chest and your upper back. Relax your belly and your lower back. As you sink down into whatever it is you're sitting on, relax your buttocks and your hips. Not pushing yourself down, but just relaxing into whatever it is wherever it is you are. Relax your upper legs, your knees, your lower legs, your ankles, feet, and toes. Take a few moments now with each breath out. Go down your body as I suggested and relax each part of your body. And as you come back to the room that you're in, the space that you're occupying, with the relaxation and the prayer, open yourself up for whatever it is you are to receive today. And you are to share with other people as you go through this day, through this moment. Give yourself to your deity, to spirit, to receive whatever it is. Okay, so we are talking about staying in the moment. I'm not doing a very good job of it right now. Staying in the moment is not an easy thing to do for several reasons, but the biggest reason is because we are programmed to always look forward. We're programmed to what are we doing next? What are we doing next? What are we doing in a week? What are we doing a month down the road? What do we do? People talk about a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan for their life. How do you do that and stay in the moment? How do you? We are obsessed with things like. Forgive me for not standing today, but my hip is too painful today for me to stand. And if I get too much pain here, I might stand. But um, we are always told by our schools, by our bosses, by society, we're always told that we have to chase this, we have to chase money, we have to chase the new house, we have to chase the new car, we have to chase all these things, and we're never right here. Well, that creates quite a dilemma. How do I plan for a vacation? How do I plan to build a house if I'm supposed to stay in the moment? Well, staying in the moment, and I'm going to get into this a lot deeper in another talk. I'm just going to touch on it today. It's probably going to be a talk that I'll record and put on when I can't be available live on YouTube because I want to go into it a little bit deeper. But the conditioning that we have, the chasing of everything that we do, is all brought onto us by programming, as I've already said. But we're in a third dimensional world. We have to have money to have that energy exchange to buy things. We have to have time for ourselves and go on vacation. We should plan ahead. And you're saying, well, that's crazy. You're talking about staying in the moment. Well, staying in the moment doesn't mean you don't plan for things. Staying in the moment means that once you've made those plans, you're open to change because the moment changes. You're open to doing the thing that needs done now. Okay, for instance, last night, my wife and I, Mary, we were getting cleaned up, gonna go to dinner, and then I was going to get an MRI done on my hip and my knee. And I got out of the shower, was waiting on Mary to get finished, and I got a text. And the text said, this is a trailer. This MRI is a trailer. We're in a small town. They don't have an MRI right in the hospital. And the text said, we're here way early. And can you come in early and get this out of the way, this MRI? Well, I answered him back and said, sure, I'll be there ASAP. Well, that wasn't the schedule. The schedule was to eat dinner first. And we were going out to dinner. We don't often go out to dinner anymore, but we were going out to dinner downtown Walsenburg. And Mary got done and she came out and she was all ready to go. And I looked at her and I said, change your plans. And she said, oh. And I said, yeah, they want us right now at the MRI. Well, that's staying in the moment. That's going with the flow. We said, sure, let's go. Let's get her done. That's what I mean when I say you have to be available to change. Okay. We had to plan the MRI. They had to call me and make an appointment for the MRI. But what wasn't set in stone was dinner. We had no appointment for dinner. We just wanted to go to dinner. We were actually doing a little celebration of buying our property, and it was the 1 year anniversary of closing on our property. That's why we were going to dinner. And it wasn't an extravagant dinner. We did just a nice place out of the house where we didn't have to cook and so forth. So um, that's part of staying in the moment, is being available to the flow of life. That's part of it. Not all of it. The other part of this is, or at least another part of it is, you've planned on your vacation. And you have all these things that have to be done before the vacation, before you can go on vacation. You have to pack. You have to make hotel reservations. You have to figure out how much it's going to cost you. You have to find the finances to be able to go on it. You have to do all these different things. And you know this. But staying in the moment is not worrying about how am I going to get the money. It's about staying in the moment and saying, okay, let's figure out right now what it's going to cost me. No other distractions, no other distractions. Just concentrating on the cost, concentrating on the packing without worrying about going further into it. I have a heck of a time with this. I just was in the back here a little while ago and I came out and I said to Mary, Mary, and I was thinking of what's going to happen if they replace my hip, is what I was thinking about, how I was going to continue these fellowship meetings while I was dealing with healing from a hip, when I may not be able to walk as well as I can now. But I'm way in the future. I haven't even seen a doctor about this yet. I was way in the future, see? That's what I mean. I was out of the moment. And I never said a word to Mary about what I was thinking. I said, whoops, I'm not staying in the moment. Because that's what I do. I don't really, a lot of people do, but I don't concentrate so much on the past. But I am constantly looking into the future. Constantly. And that's that creates a lot of anxiety for me. That creates a lot of confusion and worry and keeps my vibration from moving up because I stay in that, and I'm working really hard on that. I really am. Um, but if you stay in the moment, too many of us are worried about things. We're worried about where our next dollar is. We don't worry about most people. I'm not going to talk about everybody. Most people, at least in this area, don't worry about where their next meal is, but they might worry about where their next dollar is. And they they are constantly, what can I do next to make another dollar? What can I do next? What can I do in 5 months from now to make sure that I have the money to go? I have to go. I'm going to Pennsylvania in October, and I did not sign on to a group page for a long time because I was trying to stay in a moment. But this year is my 50th class reunion, and I want to go back to it. And people have been bugging me for a year and a half now. Why, can we get your information? I don't know. Even today, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'd like to, but I'm trying to stay in the moment, saying if it happens, it's supposed to happen. So I wouldn't join that Facebook page for the longest time. Finally, last week, I joined that Facebook page, and I found out when it is and so forth, so I could plan ahead. But I'm not planning ahead, even today, about that, saying how much, what's it going to cost, how am I doing this, how am I doing that. I just said I'd like to go to it. I just joined a page so I can get the information I need, and if it works out, it works out. If by staying in the moment and I have more important things to do because of my spiritual guidance, then that's what I'll do. I still cannot guarantee that I'm going to go. And if my spirit thinks that that's the right guidance for me, then it will happen. I don't have to find all the particulars out now. I just have to be aware that it's happening and know that I want to go. So staying in the moment is not excluding plans. Staying in the moment is not saying I'm going to wait till September to decide whether I'm going to college or not. Wait till September 1st to decide, and it starts on September 5th. I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying, no, that's not what you do. You say, okay, I want to go to college. I want to go to this university. And then you take and stay in the moment with each step to get there. You you make the application, you pay the application money, you send the application in, you wait for them to accept you. Then you start planning and doing each step without worrying about the next step. Stop worrying about what's next. Stay right here. Stay in the moment. Do the same thing at work. Your boss gives you a job, stay in that moment. Do that particular piece of paperwork. Don't worry about the next one that he wants you to do or she wants you to do. Stay with this one and get it done right. So that's what staying in the moment is. That's what, because because we only have this moment. We only have right now. We can't control what we've already done. We can learn from it, but we can't control it. We can't go back and say we're going to change that. We can't go forward either. We can't plan things out so carefully that there's not going to be change. The only guaranteed thing in life The only guaranteed thing in life is change. Everything moves on. You have a friend. Eventually, that friendship may not go sideways, but that friendship separates. One person moves to Long Island, New York. The other one moves to California. You're still friends, but you've moved on. You're not together like Siamese twins anymore. You're not, but you're still together spiritually because we're all one. Okay. Everything changes. I build a table, it starts falling apart the moment I build it. That's the way the world works. Everything changes. That's the only constant in life is change. Well, if we don't stay in the moment, then we worry about that change. How long is this table going to last me? How long can I stay at this job? I got 4 years of college to go. How am I going to get through that? Financially, study wise, friendship wise, how am I going to get? And then we start worrying because we're worried about the future that we have no idea where it's going. And if you let your spirit guide you, then you're going in the right direction. The other day we were talking about paths and timelines, and I'm not going to get into timelines on this particular talk today. But the experience that I've had in my life is that when I take the wrong path, an easier, softer way path, I'm guided over time. May not be tomorrow, but over time, I'm guided right back to that rocky path to get the experiences that I'm supposed to have in this incarnation. And the reason I chose that easier, softer path is because I didn't stay in the moment and fall and deal with the challenges that come from that rocky path. And that rocky path is the one that I'm supposed to learn from. I didn't stay in the moment. I tried to plan around it. I tried to control going my way instead of spirit's way. That's what free will. That's the free will in us. The free will in us. Free will. That's the free will in us. The free will in us helps us to take those easier, softer ways, and we learn from them. Don't get excited and say, "Well, that's I needed that." Well, you probably did, but it's probably a circle. It's probably not going. Let me see if I can get up and draw this. If you take a path, if you take a path, here's your main path. Am I too low? Here's your main path. I can't draw it. There's something wrong with this pen. That's your main path. Okay. And then there comes a Y in it. I drew that one small for a reason. And you take this path. This is the easier, softer way, you think, but this is a path. This is the rocky path. Real bumpy. And you take this path. It probably is not going like this. No. Because you might need that experience. You might need that experience. But here's what possibly it can be doing. It could be going veering off and then just going like this. And right back to that path, that rocky path, the beginning of that rocky path, so that when you get this path, you're going right back on that rocky path again. so you get the experiences that you're supposed to have from it too. So it may not be a whole different path. And it's because you weren't staying in the moment, right here. You were already worried about the future that you took this path, thought that was the better path for you. And even though those experiences were needed, you probably could have experienced some of them or all of them in a different way, going this way. But now you're going to go through those rocky path, that rocky path again. Okay. Now, I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but that's my analogy of it. And you think about that for a while and see if that resonates with you over your lifetime. I'm not trying to tell you to go into the past and be dwelling on it. Just reflect on it and see if some of these things have happened to you. And since you don't know what was up this rocky path, you can't say, well, I omitted some things, because you don't know what was on that rocky path, because you don't know the future. So you can't say, well, I avoided doing this and I avoided that and I avoided that, just because you took that other road, that other path. Chances are you didn't avoid anything. You're still going to learn in this incarnation what you're supposed to learn. You're going to experience what you're supposed to experience. May not be in the chronological order that could have happened if you had not taken a different path, but that's okay. But today we're talking about staying in the moment, so that even no matter which path we take, we're appreciating everything we see, everything experience we have, every path we take, so that when you're at work and you're sitting at your desk and you look out the window and you see that beautiful, gorgeous sunset, you can stay in the moment and appreciate that, as well as get your work done, as well as be mindful. And that's a whole other subject, being mindful. But mindful basically is being mindful about everything that's around you. Staying in the moment, you will be more mindful. Now, how do I go about getting this way? How do I go about staying in the moment? How do I go about experiencing this? I mean, right now. Well, it all goes back to what we've always talked about. It all goes back to being spiritual. It always goes back to meditating, to staying balanced, to raising your vibration, to all these things that we've spoke about in the past 6 months, which I think we just passed the 6-month mark with this church. I think we started this June 6th or something like that, and we've just passed the 6-month mark here. And everything we've talked about, all core comes together. And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing when I started studying, I had a big problem with, was how do all these rabbit holes that I go down come together? And again, that's another subject, but you can see if you go back and watch or reflect on the fellowship gatherings that we've had here, how they all work together. There's much more to this staying in the moment, but meditation by far is going to be what calms you down enough to be able to stay in the moment. I've come out of meditations in the past, and I have been so much in the moment that I remember one time driving out of my alleyway up in Montana where we lived. We came out of the alleyway onto one of the roads, and I'm sitting there at the red light, and I am so mindful that everything, now I have done this a million times, but everything looks different. Everything is more vivid. Everything is there. And it was coming out of a very deep meditation I don't even remember why. It doesn't matter why. I mean, you meditate to meditate. You don't meditate for any reason other than to join the unified field and become closer to spirit. But I was so mindful. I was so the colors on the gas station it was across the street from me was just beautiful. And I was appreciating the beauty of everything around me. I was appreciating the the intricacy of everything around me. It was like I was seeing out of new eyes. Now that's only happened to me a few times, but if I would really want to put it into any kind of context, I was sort of drunk on the mindfulness. I was elated with this mindfulness. I was just totally out of out of my normal mindset with this mindfulness. And it only lasted, I don't know, matter 10 minutes. Hmm? Yeah, until as Mary says, till the thoughts started coming back. Yeah. Till I came back down to earth, so to speak. But that's what earth is. What I experienced though is what earth really is. I was totally the observer and not the observed. And that's what life is supposed to be. So when I when I ask you folks to take your moment to talk to your deity, I take that same time and I ask for spirit to guide me as to what I'm supposed to say today and how I'm supposed to get my message across, spirit's message across, really. And when we were sitting at home today, before we came up here, we had a whole different conversation than what I'm experiencing right now about what we were going to talk about. But as I prayed and relaxed, I asked for spirit's guidance. I asked for I asked for the unified field of spirituality to guide me to share with you today what I was supposed to share. So some of the things I did, what I had planned for today was not talked about. I do not write down anymore. I think I mentioned this once before. I do not write down what I'm going to say. I did at the very beginning of this program just because I was a little bit apprehensive and not sure what I was doing. So what came out today was totally from spirit. I had no idea I was saying any of this. I had a subject. That was it. Staying in the moment. That was all I had. And I had some ideas at home. This is what I thought we were going to talk about: how to study, what to watch for, how to watch author bias, all these other things, which we'll get into at some point when I'm guided to. But none of that's coming out today because Spirit wanted me to say this today. I had to stay in the moment to do this. I couldn't wander off to other thoughts. Whenever you start thinking thoughts other than for what you're doing, you are already no longer in the moment. When you are working on that term paper, when you are working on that report for your boss, when you are cutting the wood for your next project, and your mind is wandering somewhere else, you're not staying in the moment. You're not paying attention to what you're doing. You're not doing what spirit is guiding you to do. But when you are, and that's all you're focused on, you're staying in the moment. I can't remember because it was so traumatic. I probably was not staying in the moment when I cut my finger off. My mind had probably wandered. May not have wandered far, but it was wandered probably as to, is this cut going to fit? Instead of saying, we'll cut this and then worry about it. You know? Um, so practice staying in the moment. It's not something that happens right away. It's not something that you can say, I'm staying in the moment from now on. It's baby steps. It's being aware that you're not in the moment, that you're thinking about the past. Well, that person did that to me. Or stay going into the future. I got to get this done too. If you're doing either one of them, you're not in the moment. You're not paying attention to what's happening right now as you're taking that needle and thread and darning a sock, which we thread, and darning a sock, which we don't do anymore, or sewing a button on a piece of on a shirt. Instead of paying attention to that, your mind is wandering and you poked your finger because you weren't paying attention to the moment. Everything will come to you if we stay in the moment. Everything. We worry too much about wants and not enough about needs, number one. And number two, we forget that we'll be provided for by spirit. We don't need to worry about what's happening next. Our needs will be handled. Our wants may not be, but our needs will be. And usually, if we serve our spirit, our wants will come out and be handled as well. So stay in the moment, practice it, be part of the spirit, and move through each day as if there you will stay in the moment on each moment, because we only have this moment. We only have this moment, and this moment is eternal. That's a hard concept to get. We'll have to go into that deeper when I go into more of staying in the moment, but this moment is eternal. So right now, by staying in the moment, I'm going to close for the day. Say, please share this so we can get more subscribers. Leave a thumbs up. Give me some comments, and subscribe if you haven't already. But most importantly, be spiritual in everything you do.